I've been coaching for the past 10 years, but not that type of coaching. I mean coaching more like this. Because the moment you think you know enough or you've done it all, you stop growing. If you were to change your perspective on how early mornings are for you, it can then become something that's advantageous. But to positively adjust your mind and your mindset and attitude, it needs assurance in what you're doing. I was once told by one of my mentors that change is the only continuum. Nothing ever stays the same. The world is constantly turning. You are constantly growing, shedding skin. So change is the only continuum. And with change being the only continuum, why wouldn't you want to change your circumstance? And if you've been following me for a while, you may realize I've changed the way I coach, adapted it here and there to really get to this point where I am now. And that makes me want to introduce something quite special. I coach post-counseling, therapy, and treatment individuals. In other words, I'm answering that question of what happens next. And this all stems from the premises of what therapy and counseling is. Therapy works on your past. You learn from it. You see how much it has affected you, and sometimes it might even bring you back to that place. Then throughout your sessions or throughout your program, you learn new methods to cope, to manage, to live well. My question to you then is, how do you assure you adhere to this new sense of self? How much do you believe that you can do or even be better? Furthermore, what decisions are you more likely to make? Ones you know or some you've been suggested? I particularly coach post-therapy, counseling and treatment because I understand on this journey of learning from your past, from the developing and healing from there, you gain a new identity, you gain a new sense of self, and that sense of self needs to be reacclaimed, it needs to be encouraged, it needs to be motivated in who you are, to accept it, to step within it. Instead of that past self identifying who you are, it is now about how your future self can be there for you. Hey there, welcome back to another discussion. My name is Kanchefu, and here we talk about personal development from A to Z. And in particular, we talk about what happens after therapy. As you've just gauged, this is the direction of where I'm taking my coaching, where I'm looking to help you, and for you to inform others that this is available. As I said before, we're going to discuss what happens after therapy. Where does it place you? Where does it leave you? How does it make you feel? And what do you carry beyond that? Utilizing therapies and counseling's ability to work on your past and coaching's ability to work on your future in combination of one. If you're new here, make sure to press subscribe. But if not, welcome back. So, let us begin. The first thing to identify is what is therapy, what is counseling, what is coaching. I love putting it this way to my clients that therapy is focused on the past. What did you go through? What have you seen that have altered how you see something, that have altered what you associate with someone? And from that story, you can identify who you are today. Therapy uncovers that. Therapy helps heal from that. Therapy and counseling, I should mention, are centered around that past self. On the other hand, coaching is the other side of that. What are you going to do? Who are you becoming? What do you want to achieve? It's all about that future foresight, where you want to be going, what you want to see from yourself in your life, in your friends. It is goal orientated. It is strength based, meaning what have you done before, using that as a strength, as a positive to say you can do this, and utilizing the traits, the characteristics, the actions you did, the mindset you had in your next goal. And by combining that with having worked on your past self, it is a natural transition. So let's take a deeper look. Therapy focuses on healing. To heal, that means to recover what was once lost. It means to adapt from what had once happened and to allow yourself to see and come to terms of what had happened. Therapy comes in many different forms: cognitive behavioral therapy, psychotherapy, and so many others. Each type of therapy and counseling have that ability to work on what once was, the past, the things you have gone through, the things you have seen, as I had mentioned before. And that has its place in your journey of growth. That has its place in your journey of letting go. So with that distinctive idea of how therapy and counseling play a part in your life, coaching shifts its focus towards goal setting and accountability. What goals do you have for yourself? Doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter what you've gone through. What the focus is on, you are here today. You have got a certain ability to watch this video. You've got a certain ability to have the certain friends. You have got a certain ability to have the job you're in, the high school, the university, whatever circumstance you're in. You're there for a purpose. With that purpose, with the mind you have, with the way you think, the things that you believe, how can that positively contribute to where you want to be? That's the premise of coaching. Do you see how they work? You work on yourself, you work on the scars, on the battle wound, but coaching encourages you not to be afraid of those battle wounds. It gives you hope, it gives you belief, it gives you encouragement, it gives you motivation. It might give you an insight that you didn't even see before. After receiving therapy, it's quite easy to fall back into bad habits. After receiving counselling, it's easy to feel stuck, to feel unsure of what's to come next in your life, in things you want, in places you want to go, in what you're going to do now. That type of regression is normal, it's common, and that's when coaching comes into play. The emphasis of a coach is to reinforce good habits and behaviors, to reinforce that positive side of yourself, to acclaim it, to show its worth, to show its value, so that you see it as well. For you to give it its light, not only what has gone bad, but maybe there's one piece of good within it, and that's all worth it in the end. And then vicariously from there, your behavior just changes. The way you think, the way you speak, the way you act, the way you walk, the way you talk, all in accordance of what you actually want from yourself. I believe coaching's ability to bring insight, to bring new concepts and ideas of self that reinforce who you are naturally, not trying to accept you for what you're not or for what you've been told you are, but you at your core, you at your best self, you as the person you always wanted to be. That is a powerful tool. That, in combination with having worked on yourself / working on yourself in the past, creates a being who is continually growing, continually learning, continually adapting themselves, and that's very significant. The main question here was, what happens after therapy? What happens after counseling? And if you're enjoying it, make sure you press subscribe. So there's clearly a life transition. There's a gap, there's a bridge, there's a requirement to adjust, to relearn, and adapt who you are. Adapt the way you think. Adapt the way you see yourself. Because as you've seen yourself in the past, as you've acknowledged what has happened, you can begin to own that story. You can begin to no longer be afraid of what had happened. And I mean that in terms of trauma. You see, therapy is much more than a conversation. It's uncovering things that were deep down inside. Things that have been holding you back. Things that seem as if they're unbearable. That's what therapy is still for. It helps you. It's a helping practice. And you learn from that. You grow from that. You start to see things. You start to acknowledge the way you've been and how that is played from the conversation you had with a friend a while ago. The experience you went through at this certain place. And that can change everything. That can change your values. That can change what you believe. That can change if you do anything at all. And that's the change I'm talking about. You can still do something. You can still grow. You can still develop. You can still live and lead a better life beyond that. To thrive, to enjoy, to reclaim yourself. I talk about the truest form of who you are. And what I meant by that is, as an individual, you're the only person of your mind. You're the only person of your thoughts. You're the only person with the words that come out of your mouth, with the actions that you do. It's all around you. As it's all around you, you're the one who has to face the consequences. You're the one who has to go ahead of it or not. It's all around you. When you realize that, you can own it, you can let go of it. You can step in with confidence, or you can still hold fear of the unknown, the judgment of others, the scarcity around change. Is for you to hone in on the self that believes just that bit. If you focus on you who believes that bit, you've eradicated any other thought, any other belief, any other negative insight. You are now reinforcing the story of who you are at your true self, at the one who wants change, at the one who wants what they say and does something to it, towards it. You know what I find quite interesting is that a coach doesn't necessarily instruct to say, okay, you're going to do this, do this, do this. It's more about asking provoking questions, presenting perspective-shifting ideas, ideologies and concepts to expand your thinking, to make you see the three sides of the coin, not just two, to make you question what you're able to do in a positive light, not to diminish your capabilities, not to say you can't do anything at all, but to actually proclaim who you are, your name, your body, your mind, your spirit, and your emotions. I think it's one of the most powerful things in the world. So all in all, talked about what happens after therapy, what happens after counseling. And that idea of it's a natural progression. It's a natural step after healing from who you were into stepping who you want to be. It's a part of growth. It's a part of your personal development as a human being. As you step through life, as you understand yourself that bit more, it changes your focus, solidifies your purpose, and it just grows you as a person. It complements therapy, it complements counselling, it complements treatment. So if you've just finished therapy, counselling, or treatment, or you know somebody who has, or they're going through it, send them this video. Show them that afterwards they don't have to be alone. Afterwards, they can have support, ongoing support in becoming who they want to be. No longer being afraid of the past, but being confident in who they say they are. There's a link below for a self-referral form where you can fill it out and we can start a discussion of what happens next. My name is Kanchefu. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. If you have, make sure you like it, share it with friends and family to spread the word that this service is here to help and support. I'm sure they'll really appreciate it. My name is Kanchefu once more. Have a good day, morning, night or evening for wherever you're in the world watching this. And I'll see you next week for our next discussion.